Hey, YouTubers. I am talking today about family. Woo! So this has been a year, you know, this has been like a year of family reunification. I don't know if other people are like bumping into long lost relatives and stuff like that, but I personally am like meeting a lot of family. I come from a huge family. I know my family was huge, but I only like personally hang around, just a small fraction, very small fraction of family members. So to finally have contact and to meet other family members of other siblings, it was good. It was good to see, and I am just I'm talking to the young mothers of today because I'm a product of young mothers from before. Um, Baby mamas, when you have more than one, when your kids have, siblings from other women, and if the women are not getting along, they keep the kids away from each other. So, I just want you all to see it from down the road what it may come and look like. Because for me, uh, I found out, I found maybe 100 new family members, 100. You know how many? 100. And that's just from two siblings. Because the two siblings had like 5, 6 kids, and their kids had kids. And so now you got a whole cluster of people that you didn't even know. And it all stems because the mamas didn't get along. They were all feuding over, my granddad. So I want to give y'all a little bit of what can happen if y'all don't learn to collaborate today. You're going to end up with denying access to your children from their village. You're giving them broken villages. And it wasn't even worth it. Everybody, when asked, everybody said the same thing. They didn't think that we wanted to be bothered. We grew up not thinking that they wanted to be bothered. So nobody bothered to reach out to anybody. You know, if mom or if dad, you know, didn't bring us to this family, then we don't. Could be out of respect for your parent because you don't know what happened. But usually, what I'm seeing in my case and in other people's cases that I talk to, this isn't this is a lot. I mean, a lot of people that I know are going through the same thing. So I know that there's a lot of people out there that can relate to what I'm saying. So if I can reach anybody that may be going through this, could be a parent and have their children could have other children, siblings. Their child can have other siblings from other women, and they're not getting along. Please try to find a way to make your sisterhood work. Try to bond your village. You guys can learn to utilize each other's strengths and weaknesses. Watch each other kids so that it gives you guys more free time. This is the stuff I did, personally. I never had beef with anybody else. I don't know, maybe because of me being raised and I knew I was raised away from other uncles and aunties, that made me never want to be like that, so I always, no matter how stressful or how difficult it is, to do, I try to always be the voice of reason. If they're having a bad day and they're snappy, I'll let them have it. You know what? Why don't we just talk on another day when you're not so stressed out? And I'll leave, you know. And usually they come to their senses and we'll talk, But communication, I always say nobody can ever be exempt from saying that they are perfect when it comes to communication, because as long as there's somebody out there that don't agree with you or don't like you, then there's always room to learn to communicate. So, because I used to always think that I could communicate effectively, but I can't reach everybody. I stopped trying to reach everybody, but I can still use that moment to continue to practice on communicating to people who are more difficult for me to communicate with. So it's a challenge. So it's cool. And that's the way I look at it. And if that helped, maybe y'all could look at it like that too. Everybody is not going to be open to hear you. You have to accept that. You can't make people hear you when you want to. You have to let them hear you when they're ready. You have to accept that. And as long as you can understand those two things and adhere to those two things, it's not, communicating isn't going to be as stressful. You're not going to get as stressed out. Because you're understanding you have to meet people where they're at, and when they're open, they'll be ready to communicate. And that's it. You can't change anything that you can't control. You can't control other people's emotions or feelings or when they're ready to be open and talk. So you just have to it's like a waiting game. You have to wait until both of you all are on the same page. And so, I wanted to throw that little tidbit of information out. But, I'm hoping that, when it comes to raising these kids, that these young mothers, because I see it's more young mothers now than it was, in my mom's age, in my mom's day, because this is where all of the crap goes. It goes to my mom. So that we're talking about the 50s. So, there was more, there was like people with multiple baby mothers, but it wasn't, as profound as it is now. So I'm imagining if we're going through this and we're at the beginning, we're 3 generations in, 3 generations in, what's getting ready to happen to this generation, where having more than one baby mama is more of the norm now. Sad to say, but it's more of the norm. So, and when I say multiple, I'm not talking about 2. I'm talking about who's trying to juggle 3, 5, 7 baby mamas. Y'all gonna have to really reach out and get y'all sisterhood. Put your big girl panties on, and do grown and come grown. Come to each other on grown women stuff, and not on little bickering girl stuff. Let's talk as grown women trying to raise these babies and do what's in the best interest of these children, and not what's in the best interest of us. Because that's what it all boils down to. Those are the sacrifices that we make when we decide to become a parent. We are not the top priority anymore. That kids is. The kids are always the first thing, the top priority. And that top priority is to make sure that child's village stays intact. So, I just wanted to throw that out there because, I just, it just looks really dumb when you get down to where we're at. So I'm like, fast forward, you guys 35, 40 years down the road, and your kids are grown with their own kids, and they have no idea on what in the heck what was going on at that moment that you're in right now. Right now. They don't know. They be like, I don't know. Mom was mad at dad about something with your mama. So pretty much all it boils down to is 2 women fighting over a man. So when you get around here, it seems stupid. Might sound like a big deal right now, but when you get down here where we're at, that wasn't more important than family. I mean, that's just the real. I mean, that's how I'm seeing it. That's how a lot of us, are looking at it. When I talk with them, we're all saying the same thing. I was denied my family because My granddaddy had had 3 girlfriends. You know what I'm saying? That didn't like each other. So they raised all their kids pot. And now, we don't see each other because they all mad at each other because granddaddy stayed with so and so and didn't go with the other girl. It doesn't sound good when you get down here. It doesn't justify why I don't get to see my family. Everybody's saying the same thing. They don't get it. They get it, but they don't get it. It just wasn't worth it. What did it prove? You know? But one thing I do find remarkable is that everybody is wanting to meet each other. And everybody had the same thing. Everybody didn't know how to approach the other family member because they didn't think that they would be open, or the bad things that they heard their parents say about the mama. So they were afraid to talk to the kids when they got grown. So I say, get out there, find your family, talk to them, initiate it. I got on Facebook. That's what we did. We all got together, opened up a Facebook page. We called it whatever your last name, Family Tree. The Blacks Family Tree. The Jordans Family Tree. And everybody tagged everybody that they know. Like I said, my family huge. So somebody's in contact with somebody, and in that process, I'm over 100 right now, people that I'm new people, new family members that I'm actually meeting, and it just made my village that much bigger, and it was nice and it was refreshing, and we all wanted the same thing. And even with some of my friends, they're all saying the same thing. These are people that they relate to. They've gone through similar paths. They some of them found out they even all of them ended up having the same amount of kids. Isn't that ironic? A whole family that were not raised together. Every female had the same number of kids. Don't tell me black girl magic. That is something there. It is something there. They all did the same thing. All the guys are the same way, just like the grandfather. Have a lot of kids by a lot of baby mamas, and all the girls had the same amount of kids. And I was like, oh my God, that was really interesting. Me, I can't wait to find out what I have in common with, my cousins and second cousins. You know, um, so we're putting together our first family reunion. Um, and we're going to include everybody because the last family reunion we went to, I was a teenager with my grandmother, but that was just with the family members that I knew. But now we're going in together. We're going to do everybody, everybody, all of them. Let's pull everybody out of the bush. Everybody, let's come and let's meet each other. Let's love on each other. Let's get to know each other, and let's raise this village, And so I hope that somebody understands, what I'm talking about, and can hear what I'm trying to say, in the big picture, that we just really need to get back our families, get back our villages, you know, reunify, as a whole. And on that note, peace.